Hey folks, we are continuing on here. We have our full backend technical spec completely written out. And so I'm hoping with that we can write our backend Go code. Now, by the way, we could use this to write any kind of um, backend code. All we'd have to change out is the word Go. And maybe we did have one part that was specifically about, what do you call it? The rake tasks. But we could just say like tasks here. Task runner tasks. And if we wanted to extract this out a little bit different, then we go to the top here and we would just say built using Go. Mage is the task runner. And so now all we'd have to do is change the technical requirements if we wanted to get exactly what we want for our stuff, right? So this should be pretty straightforward. But now that we have this, I'm gonna hit new. I'm gonna go over to write. We haven't been using this so far, but now we're ready to get going here. So I have defined an technical spec. So I need to build a backend Golang app, or sorry, I need to build a API backend for our Lang portal app. All required tech specs are in the backend technical spec. Now, what we could do is we could tell it to tell us what you're going to do before you do it. Like, give me a summary of what you plan to do, and then when we agree, you can go ahead and execute it. Execute the commands to create the project. So go ahead and do that. So it's going to take a look there, because sometimes you really need to tell it a little bit more, like to get on top of it. Based on technical specs, I summarize the plan for building the API backend, create a new Go app, set up a gin, database create called words, implement 6 tables, implement RESTful API. Here it's showing the backend Go. So we have the server, internals, migrations, Mage Go, Go mod, words. So one thing I don't notice here, I don't see the seeds folder. Where is it? Okay, so it's missing that. And so now we have this, and what's cool? We could actually bring this over to here. So we say our, I'll say directory structure, right? And so we could actually bring this in over here now. We might not want to be as prescriptive to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, because I'm saying like maybe we might not want to specify it if we want to give it flexibility to do things outside of this. So I would just like, can we group the migrations and seeds directories together in a folder called DB, right? Okay, that's fine. Great. This internals, because I'm not familiar with this, but this internal folder, is that a gin directory structure? So I know other apps like Rails uses app, and but what's going on here for the internals? Could is a Go specific convention and is not specific to gin. It's a special directory that Go prevents packages from being imported. However, you make a good point about structure. Given that we're building a web application with Gin, we can make some more idiomatic to web development patterns. So CMD contains the main entry point, reusable packages that could be potentially shared with other services. App, the main application code. I don't know. That seems like a lot. I don't know. Reject it. Reject it. I think that's too much. So we do have some stuff here. It has database and services. I don't really know what these things do. What for internal? Do we need models, handlers, database, and services folders? I know what models are, but what are handlers? Oh, these are GIN HTTP requests. Okay, so that's why. Database contains connection setup configuration. However, since reasoning SQLite, this could be potentially simplified services. Sure. Okay, so now this is a little bit simpler. But what happened to handlers? Why did we get rid of handlers? Oh, did we want to get rid of handlers? Like if you build GIN apps? API endpoints? Because I don't know, right? Okay, so all it did was change API to handlers. Whatever, but it's doing a few other weird things here. Handlers featured by dashboard groups words. I don't know if we need all that description here. Anyway, we'll leave it in. It's already here. Okay, so this API endpoint. So it's getting a little bit confused here. I don't want to confuse it anymore. So, all right, let's. Okay, so yeah, please proceed to build the app in the backend Go. In the backend, say files, backend Go. It's actually directory, backend Go. Oh, it's not selecting it, so let's just say backend Go directory. And we'll go ahead and ask it to do that now. So now, here we're going to see. So we have this. We'll run this here. Accept. Okay, here we go. It seems like it's getting confused a bit here. Well, Go isn't installed, right? I apologize. If it seems Go is not installed and not in the path. We do want the Go extension installed, so we'll go ahead and do that. I actually haven't installed Go on this machine at all, I don't think, so it might be the first time it's doing this. So far, these files look really good. I don't know if this is, if it's using WSL or not here. So like if I go here, it's opening in PowerShell. And that might be a bit of an issue because we really do want to use WSL here, right? But we'll give it a moment here and then maybe we'll fix WSL. While that's going, I'm going to go take a look at extensions. I'm going to type in WSL. I'm going to go ahead and install the Open Remote WSL here. So one thing I would say is like, are you using WSL on my machine, or the host Windows ENV environment? I do. Switch to WSL. So access the project to the WSL file system and use that. So that's what it's suggesting to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reopen this folder. Maybe not that way, but I'm going to reopen this with WSL. Normally there's like a WSL icon somewhere here. Let's go back over to here for a second. I'm not sure if WSL is here. Terminal, WSL. This is something I found out earlier, but if we go here and what we're seeing here is PowerShell, we actually want WSL, which is, if we drop it down, is here. Ubuntu, but we need this project to open in WSL. So I wonder if I can type Windsurf here. Windsurf period. And so what I'm hoping that happens here. Okay, so I gotta go to the internet here because we don't know here, but how do I open Windsurf? The current folder in Windsurf from the terminal. Just a second here. I'm just going to move my desk into sitting position. Okay. How about this? How do I open folder in WSL in Windsurf? Go to any directory in WSL. I mean, that's not. Exactly what I want. Oh, what a pain. What a pain. I mean, it's not exactly WSL's fault, but like if we, or Windsurf, but if we had a way we could type Windsurf in this thing, then we would have less of an issue here. Because here, this is what the directory looks like, right? Open. Open folder. No, that's not what I want. Okay, I'm going to go over to here. How do I open the folder in the WSL as opposed for Windsurf? Like, if I can't figure that out, it's going to be a big pain in the butt. Oh, okay, interesting. Let's try that. I didn't know you could do that. So we'll go open folder. Ubuntu. Oh, did not know that. So we'll go to mount C. Whoops. What is it normally? Mount C users. I'm doing this kind of a wonky way. Oh, I can do it. I know I can do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to cheat here. This is specific to me because I don't have it in WSL. I want it in my, the reason I do this is that I want it in my local computer so I can easily find it. Even though it's more optimal, put it in WSL. And if WSL gets blown away, I don't want any of my code getting blown away. So let's, what happens if I do this? Cancel. We'll do this here. Oh, okay. What do we do? What annoying. So C is not accessible when trying to use \WSL. First check. I mean, it's installed properly. I already know it is. Sure, why not? PowerShell. It's there. It's already there. It works. It's there. Okay. Look, I want to leave the directory in the C in the mount C. Okay. In VS Code, I can do this, so I should be able to do this here. Oh, that is not useful whatsoever. Okay, so this is where we kind of ran into a tiny bit of an issue. We have connect to WSL. Open folder and container. Open folder. Can we do it this way? Ooh, here we go. Maybe this is another, I don't know what I did, but if it works, I don't care. C. There we go. Okay, and so now we got sites. No, it's users. And Andrew, it missed my W. It's kind of frustrating. Sites. And here we have Omen Regen Essentials. There we go. What did I do? I clicked, I connected, I did something. So yeah, do whatever I did. I don't know what it was, but I got it to open, and sometimes that's just how it is, right? So now we're getting the whole repo. I don't really want the whole repo. It's fine. It's kind of annoying because I really hope it doesn't try to pick up any of this other stuff. but it was so hard to open it to begin with. I mean, we could go back and try that again. Open folder. Mount, C, users, Andrew without a W, sites, Almond King, yeah, this one here. And then I want the Lang portal. There we go. So now all we have is this folder. Perfect. Okay. And so Windsurf will be able to concentrate. I don't care about the get thing. We'll ignore it. I'm going to go back here and say, I mean, it has some stuff in here. I'm going to clear this out because I don't know what any of this stuff is. And I didn't get to confirm it all. So please, like, we want to implement, I need to implement an API backend. I have a detailed backend tech spec here. Say file, backend, technical spec. Can you please read it and tell me plan to do, and then we can proceed to build the app in the backend Go folder. Okay, so now we're on write. It's going to read that one. Really important to tell it to read it first, because even like Claude's terrible at just doing stuff that you didn't ask it for. And so this is going to help it out a little bit. Okay, great. Okay, great. Start implementing. We'll go let that do that there. So I'll say accept. Hopefully this time it has less of an issue, and it looks like it does. Is this working? Let's refresh it. It is. Okay, great. We'll add the Go init. Go cannot be found, so I see you haven't installed it. So here it's suggesting us to install it. We'll insert this into terminal. Is that the way we want to install it? Sure. It's probably fine. Right? I hope so. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll say yes. We'll give it a moment here to go. And it is installing. Very good. Okay, Go should be installed. Let's continue. I mean, I don't really know if it's installed, but it thinks it's installed. Okay, we'll do that. It's kind of annoying that it's calling Lang portal as that's up here and this is in here. I'm not sure if that hyphen's going to cause any issues. So it's creating the main.go, the magefile.go, the models.go. Again, I don't know Go that well, and it's going. But Go is like highly, highly proficient, more proficient than Python. So if it does work and we want to, launch this at scale, that's going to be really interesting. Looks like it's also trying to take care of cores here too, so that's really useful. But I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. If you didn't know Python or all this other stuff, I'm going to be really reliant on this doing all the work for us. Do you want to run this command? Yeah, sure. Sounds good. So it looks like it's setting up GoMage now, or whatever the thing is called. Just Mage, maybe. Accept all. And so now we have code. Let's go take a look at what we have. So we have our go.mod. That is our entry point in here. And you can see that there's a lot of requirements. Go is very verbose. So that's no surprise. So that's going to have everything that we're using. So we have Sonic from ByteDance. What the heck is that? Do we want to be using ByteDance code in here? Is that good or bad? Let's go over to here. ByteDance Sonic. Okay, so that's a serializing database. For those who don't know, ByteDance makes TikTok, and the state's almost banned TikTok. It's a Chinese company too, so there might be bad code injected there. I don't think there is, but I'm just saying, like, if you're into conspiracy theory, that's what you might think here. Of all this other stuff, looks fine. That's not crypto, like as in crypto coin. That's probably cryptographic something. So we have our go_sum, which is a checksum file for what is actually installed. We have our magefile.go here. This is going to, we have the install, so install the project dependencies. So it looks like it has more than just the ones that we gave it. Run the server, build the server. Okay, but it doesn't look like it implemented everything just yet. I completed the initial setup, created the project structure, initialized the Go modules, created the main server files, created the database modules, created the initial database migration, set up Magefile, implemented the handlers of each API endpoint, created the service layer, implemented the databases, and stuff like that. It doesn't look like it completed all the Magefile Go stuff. We don't have anything in our seeds. We have some migrations. This looks correct so far. So ID, Japanese, Romaji, English, yeah, groups, that's right. Word groups, yep, it's a relationship between the two. Study sessions, that looks correct. Study activities, it belongs to study session, group ID, etc. That's good. Word review items, correct. References all over the place here. I think that's right, all those references, reviewed items. It belongs to a word ID, yep. It belongs to a session ID, so that should be fine. We could have it generate some seed data for us. Let's look at our main.go. So our main application here has Go, SQLite, and Gin. It's bringing in cores, which is good. It's saying allow origin all for now. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem, but right now it's saying all for everywhere, for all directions. But normally you want to lock this down to exactly what you want to have. So this might be like localhost, well, not localhost, but wherever we deploy to, that might be something we might want to change later on. Here we have our API. Here it's talking about where to route these APIs. I don't know what the second parameter is for, but we could ask it. But we can see that we have all these routes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doesn't look like it finished all the routes. Okay, we'll go into the internals here. Nothing in handlers. We have our Go models. This is basically to map up, like to provide the structure of the objects coming from the database. So that makes sense. Nothing under service. Okay, so we're gonna go back here and I'm gonna tell a few things. So next steps would be implement the handlers. Okay, so it says create the service layer, implement the database logic, add initialization. Okay, so sounds good. Sounds good. Let's continue. Let's keep going. Okay, so the things that are missing is what it says that it's missing. So that's fair. So it created a dashboard.go file. While this is generating out, we can take a look at them. So we have our, so we're defining these type structures, okay. Down below we have our query. Then we have functions. Go is really flat. It'll have like a bunch of functions. Again, they're not gonna roll these up into classes. So it looks good to me. But yeah, it's just going. So I'll be back here when this is done. I'm going to pause here so you don't have to wait forever. There's nothing exciting going on here right now. All right, so looks like it finished our next task. So it created the dashboard, the study, the words, the dashboard, the study. Okay, so it says created them, and then they implemented them. And then it updated our main Go. So let's take a look at our main Go and see what was changed. So now here, okay, so now it's actually passing those implementations. You can see that it's not fully done. It's just doing some of them right now. We would have to go into each one and just really carefully read it. So this is the dashboard Go file. Let's go here. Those are the handlers. Do they not contain the SQL? I guess they don't. So new dashboard handler, get study last session. Okay, so these handlers then just refer to where the sessions goes, or sorry, the services. So here you can see it's internally calling the service. Sorry, here. So this is good. So like that's the handler, and then the handler is passed to the Go file. It's kind of like feels like a completely useless intermediate file, but if that's what it needs, that's what it needs. But then it will call the files here. So really, the meat of it is going to be the handlers are going to be boring. It's going to be these files that we're going to care about. But honestly, since we know what our JSON is, we can just let it go all the way to the end and then tell it to make test code and make sure that it's correct. So that's fine. We'll just say like keep going. Yeah, we'll say accept all. Keep going. Yep. Let's just keep doing all the work. And I'll pause here. Be back in a moment. All right. So the next little round of changes are done. Let's go take a look here. So we say keep going. So I'm going to implement the database migrations and adding seed data. So take a look here. So this is a way so that it can actually run migrations. All right, we don't really need something super complicated, but that seems fine. Oh, it seems like it's even going to manage a migrations table. That, again, is a little bit overkill, but if it works, I don't care. Here we have some basic data to be populated. I don't want it to insert data here. We have ergo, main go, mage file. That's fine. I would say in the migrations, don't load any data. We're going to do that via a JSON file as described in the tech spec doc. Tech spec doc I asked you to read. Okay, so I have that revise that because I don't want it to do that. Yeah. Because that's all it's supposed to do is run the schema, right? I don't know why it has parts of language. I guess it's confused. Because we don't need that right now. Well, it's doing pretty well. Like, it's getting through a lot of the code. So I'm really hoping what we do is we get something, and then after that, it runs, and then we say, hey, we need to now test it and write test code to make sure all of our endpoints actually return what we want. And that might be the best way to do this here. So I'm going to accept this. I'm going to put this in here. Let me take a look and see what we have. So in our mage.go, we have our knitDB, we have our seeddb, we have our reset, we have our reset and seed, which are completely separate. Well, it's coming along. Let's go over into our main Go file, wherever that is, main.go. And I want to know, is like all of them implemented now? They look like well, no, they don't all look like they're implemented. Okay, let's let it do what it's doing here. It's getting really confused here. But I'd say one thing it hasn't done is implemented all the endpoints. So it's implemented some of them, but it can only do so much in a one go, eh? Okay, good. So there appears to be many API endpoints missing. Can you continue to implement the rest that are documented in the tech here? And so if we get them all in, then the next thing will just be to write the code. So I'll be back here when this is done generating. All right, actually, I had dinner, and now I'm back. So let's go back and take a look at what it did. So it says, I've now completed implementing the remaining API endpoints for the language learning portal. Here's a summary of what I did. So we did the groups.go. And this is really the trick, is you just got to read it all and check it all. That's the big challenge here, is that people don't read it. But we say implemented methods for managing word groups, implemented methods for studying sessions, implemented the handlers. We have the dashboard endpoints, the word endpoints, the groups, study activities, etc. Do you want to run this command? Sure. Oh, it's actually going to start it. Cool. So here we have this about a bunch of stuff that's not being used. The server should now be running in localhost. You can test the API endpoints with curl or whatever. All endpoints are supported, proper error handling. So I guess the question is, I mean, that's cool. It says it's running. That doesn't mean anything, but you can see there's a bunch of warnings here. I would like to, oh, it timed out. It stopped. So we have these here. So we have we'll just say accept all. So I'm going to say the Go server ran for a while, then stopped before I had a chance to curl it. Also getting the following warnings or errors, because it doesn't use those things. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Maybe you can correct that, because it probably just put in a bunch of code that it didn't need. Now, normally Go is really good at ripping things out that aren't being used, that are imported, but we'll run this again. Okay, we'll keep suggesting here. Oh, it's fixing it right now. Good. And we'll go ahead and do this. And now it has an issue, undefined time. We'll say accept. Wow, there's quite a few issues. But, you know, again, I don't have to do anything. I just got to watch this here. But at some point, we should become an expert. Like, if this is something that you would be running in production, I would ask it to, like, break down the code, and I would go through and comb all of it to understand it and try to get up to parity in terms of the knowledge to maintain it myself. But as a MVP that I'm not deciding to put into production, it's totally fine. And again, it's just going and going here. We'll say accept. And here, oh, there we go. So now, oh, we're getting good output now. So here it's running it, and it's starting it. We're seeing all these endpoints. It's showing all the handlers it's starting. And now it looks like it is running and saying open the browser. So that means that it's running. We get a page 404, which is totally fine. And notice that we get that endpoint there as it's hit it with that get. So we actually get some good logging, which is really nice. So now I'm going to, oh, now it's going to curl it for us. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. It says no such word, such table words. It didn't run the seeder. I'm not sure why they call it seed. And I was wondering if it did that or not. It's going to do it. So it's doing pretty good so far. Let's run the seeder again. We'll go ahead and try this again. We did have this no such file directory here. So I said it's fixing its mistakes, but yeah. And we'll go ahead and run this again. Failed to connect to the database. It's still going. Unknown driver SQLite. So now our current output here is this. And we'll accept these changes. And at least the server's running, but now we can see that we're getting, now it's trying to hit the API and it's getting a 500 error, right? Is that where it needs to go into the seeder, or is it just in general? I want to see what it's changing here now. Okay, so it's just adding it as a requirement. This is just in the main.go. I would assume the seed would run the migrations first. Let me create a migration file. Why is it creating a migration file? Hold on. Did you need to create a migration file? Or did we already have code for this in our task runner? Yeah, because I didn't think it needed to do that. You really have to pay attention here. And I am like, it might not seem like it, but I'm really paying attention to what it's generating out here. And so we have main.go, because that's what it should run. Well, it shouldn't have added that file to begin with, right? Okay, so there we have mage.go, reset and seed. Do you want to run that command? Sure. Mage not found. I thought it imported mage. So it's adding it in case it's not there. I thought it was already added. I could have swore I saw it before in our, it was like in the Go mod, but maybe it wasn't in there. I saw mage. And we'll accept that again. But yeah, like as a separate thing, if we really wanted to work with this, we could use this as a way of documenting or explaining how the code works and walking through it in various ways. But I'm confident enough that, like with my general knowledge with web frameworks, that I don't need to do that. I'm still attempting to try to run it. Imported and no, not used. Path file, path page. And so I guess if you have things that it's not using, it needs to remove those out and fix those issues. Accept that again. And so now it seems like it's running. So now we created it. We need to create the tables. So okay, so it's resetting in seed, but wouldn't the seed need the tables first? Creating errors, no seed for table such as that. It seems like it should have been running the init and then the database. It seems like it's confused. So now it's trying to run the init DB and then it's going to do the seed data. We'll accept that again. So now it's resetting the database, initializing the database, and the database is now seeded. Now we'll run the main Go application. It's starting up the server. We're seeing the endpoints, no errors. Well, we do have that error where it says, error, listen to 8080 already in use. So it looks like the previous one is running because it didn't stop it. So now it killed it manually and it's starting it up again, I believe. Error 8080, still complaining. It's still trying to terminate the last one. It's weird that it actually gives you termination commands. That seems a bit risky, but down here, we'll just type it in. I'm not sure where the other one was running. Maybe it was on the other tab. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so I mean, it really shouldn't use 8080 because I'm actually using that port for the other application. It's in the other one. It's the typing tutor. So it's going to use 8081, which is totally fine. We'll go ahead and do this. And now we're getting back a result. So now what we have, in theory, is a working API. Okay? But we need to know that it actually works. And the way that we're going to actually know that it works is we need to now have a test suite to run against it to make sure that all of our endpoints do as expected. So I'm going to stop this video. In the next video, we're going to use this again to validate that we have all the test code we need. So I'll see you in the next one, okay?